what I thought he was doing if he was essentially maintaining two households and two relationships. Then I wasn't going to just confront him and have a fight. I was going to do something he would never see coming. On a Tuesday afternoon, I called Nia. I need your cousin's number. The one who's a private investigator. Nia didn't ask questions. She just texted me the number and said, call me after. His name was Devin. We met at a coffee shop downtown. I brought a folder with copies of receipts, a list of dates and times, credit card statements, everything I had gathered. Devin was professional, mid-40s, with kind eyes that had probably seen a lot of messy situations like mine. What do you think is going on? He asked after looking through my evidence. I took a breath. I think my husband is still in a relationship with his ex-wife. I think the Sunday visits are not just about his daughter. I think he's been lying to me for months, maybe longer. Devin nodded slowly. What do you want from this investigation? Proof, I said. Photographs, video, timestamps, everything I need to know, exactly what he does from the moment he leaves my house until he comes back. Can you do that? He could. He quoted me a price. It wasn't cheap, but I had money in my personal account. Money Marcus didn't know about. I had been saving for years, long before I met him. My mother taught me to always have my own money, my own safety net. Thank God I listened. For the next 4 Sundays, Devin followed Marcus. I went about my regular routine, met friends for brunch, went to the gym, did anything to keep myself busy and distracted. Devin sent me updates via encrypted messages. Target leaving residence. Target arrived at subject location. It was all very professional and clinical, which helped me keep my emotions in check. On the 5th Sunday, Devin called me. I have everything you need. Can we meet tomorrow? My heart pounded. Tomorrow was Monday. Marcus would be at work. Yes, tomorrow. Same coffee shop. 10 in the morning. I barely slept that night. Marcus came home at 9, kissed me on the forehead, said he was tired, and went to bed. I stayed up watching TV, my mind racing with what I might see the next day. The next morning, I sat across from Devin at our usual table. He slid a large envelope across to me. I'm sorry, Zara. I really am. Inside were photographs. Lots of them. Printed in clear, undeniable color. Marcus and Simone holding hands walking into a restaurant. Marcus and Simone kissing in her driveway. Marcus and Simone and Kennedy at a park, looking like a perfect, happy family. Marcus's arm around Simone's waist at a grocery store. Marcus and Simone in her kitchen, visible through the window, embracing. There was more. Video files on a USB drive. Timestamps on every photo. A detailed log of every Sunday for a month. Arrival times. Departure times. Activities. Locations. The pattern was clear. Marcus would arrive at Simone's house around 9 in the morning. Sometimes Kennedy was there, sometimes she wasn't. When Kennedy was there, they would do family activities. Go to the park, out to lunch, shopping. When Kennedy wasn't there, which was more often than I expected, Marcus and Simone stayed inside. For hours, Devin had even documented that some Sundays, Kennedy was at her friend's house or at her grandparents'. Those Sundays, Marcus still went to Simone's house, spent the whole day there, didn't leave until late evening. I need you to look at something else, Devin said quietly. He showed me a photo dated from 6 weeks ago. Marcus and Simone at a jewelry store. Another photo, close up through the window. They were looking at rings. Engagement rings. My stomach dropped. Are they? I couldn't finish the sentence. I don't know, Devin said. But based on what I observed, this isn't just an affair. They're acting like a couple planning a future. I sat back in my chair, feeling numb. 6 years of marriage. 3 years of Sunday lies. How long had this been going on? Since before we got married? Did he ever actually stop being in love with her? Devin cleared his throat. Zara, I have to ask. What are you going to do with this? I looked at him. Then I looked at the envelope full of evidence. Then I made a decision. I'm going to leave him, I said. But not the way he expects. Devin raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just realized they held all the cards and knew exactly how to play them. I spent the next 2 weeks planning. I didn't confront Marcus. I didn't give him any hint that I knew. I was sweet, normal, acted like everything was fine, made him dinner, kissed him goodbye when he left for his Sunday visits, welcomed him home with a smile. But behind the scenes, I was moving. First thing I did was consult a divorce lawyer. Her name was Patricia, and she came highly recommended. I brought her all my evidence. The photographs, the videos, the receipts, everything. Patricia looked through it all with a neutral expression that I'm sure came from years of seeing terrible things people do to each other. After a long silence, she looked up at me. You have a very strong case. North Carolina is a no-fault divorce state, but infidelity can affect things like alimony and property division. How do you want to proceed? I want to proceed strategically, I said. We're not having kids. That house we bought together, I paid half the down payment and half the mortgage for 4 years. I want my money back. All of it. Plus my share of the equity. And I want it done in a way where he can't hide assets or drag this out. Patricia nodded. We can do that. But Zara, there's something you should know. If you want the maximum advantage, you need to file first and file smart. Also, anything you're planning to do it before he knows you're planning to divorce him. Once he knows, he'll start protecting his assets too. That's when I told her my plan. I want to sell the house before I file. Patricia blinked. Can you do that? The house is in both names, but you need both signatures to sell. Unless what? I leaned forward. Unless one spouse has power of attorney, Patricia said slowly. Do you have that? I shook my head. But I know Marcus travels for work sometimes. Long trips. Would he sign a limited power of attorney to handle house stuff while he's gone? Patricia thought about it. He might if you frame it right. If you can get that, you can legally list and sell the house without him being present for every step. You'd still need his signature on the final documents, but you can control the process. I felt a plan forming. Marcus had a trip coming up in 3 weeks. A real estate conference in Miami. For days. He had mentioned it several times. I could use that. That night, I brought it up casually over dinner. Marcus, your Miami trip is coming up soon, right? He nodded, swallowing a bite of chicken. Yeah, week after next. For days. Should be good for networking. I hesitated like I was thinking about something. I was thinking, while you're gone, what if something comes up with the house? Like if the AC breaks again, or we need to sign something for the HOA. We both hate when things get delayed because we can't both sign. Marcus shrugged. What are you suggesting? Just, maybe we should have power of attorney for each other. For practical stuff. That way if you're traveling or I'm traveling, we can handle things without waiting. It would make life easier. He thought about it for maybe 5 seconds. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me have my assistant draft something up. I smiled sweetly. Already done. I asked Patricia to draw up a simple one, just for property and household stuff. Nothing major. I slid a folder across the table. It was a limited power of attorney, carefully worded by Patricia to give me the right to handle real estate transactions. Marcus barely looked at it. He trusted me. Why wouldn't he? I was his loyal wife who sat home alone every Sunday while he played house with his ex. He signed it, got it notarized the next day through his office. Just like that, I had what I needed. The next step was harder. I had to find a real estate agent without Marcus knowing. I contacted someone in a different part of Charlotte, someone who wouldn't know Marcus through his work connections. Her name was Valerie. I met her at her office and explained the situation. Carefully. I'm getting divorced, I said. My husband doesn't know yet. The house is in both our names, and I have power of attorney. I want to list it, sell it fast, and close before he realizes what's happening. Is that possible? Valerie looked at me for a long moment. Honey, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen it all. If you have legal power of attorney and the house is in both names, you can list it. But he'll find out the second we put a sign in the yard. Not if we don't put a sign in the yard, I said. Can you sell it without exterior advertising? Just list it online. Send it to your buyer network. Keep it quiet? Valerie smiled. We can do that. It's called a pocket listing. Very discreet. If the house is priced right, I can sell it in a week, maybe less. Market's hot right now. I nodded. Price it to sell. I don't care about getting top dollar. I care about getting it sold fast and closed faster. She pulled up our address, your neighborhood. Houses are going for around 400,000. You want to sell quick? I'd list at 375. You'll have multiple offers within days. Our house was worth about 400,000, like she said. We owed 210,000 on the mortgage. That meant about 190,000 in equity, split between us. But more importantly, I had paid 80,000 toward the down payment and mortgage over the years. I wanted that back, plus my half of the equity. Do it, I told Valerie. List it tomorrow. She did. I spent the next few days pretending everything was normal. Marcus left for Miami on a Thursday. I kissed him goodbye at the door. Have a great conference. Network hard. He grinned. I will. Love you. I smiled. Love you too. The second his car was out of the driveway, I called Valerie. He's gone. What do we have? We have 3 offers, she said. All cash. All above asking. Holy hell. Zara, this house is going to sell today. By Friday morning, we had accepted an offer. 385,000. All cash. 30-day close. I signed the contract using my power of attorney. Everything was legal. Everything was proper. Marcus would have to sign the final closing documents, but by then it would be too late for him to stop it. While this was happening, I was also preparing my exit. I had been applying for jobs. Not in Charlotte. In London. My company had a London office, and they had an opening for a senior financial analyst. I applied, interviewed over video call, and got the offer. They wanted me to start in 6 weeks. I accepted, told them I could start in 5. They were thrilled. I began sorting through our things. I didn't pack yet. That would be too obvious, but I made mental notes. This is mine. This is his. This I'm taking. This I'm leaving. Most of the furniture could stay. I didn't need it. I was starting completely fresh. I transferred money from our joint savings account to my personal account. Not all of it. That would be suspicious. Just my half. Marcus never checked the savings account anyway. I also quietly closed joint credit cards where I was the primary holder. Paid them off. Closed them. One less thing to tie me to him. Sunday came. Marcus called me from Miami. Hey babe, how's the weekend? Fine, I said cheerfully. Quiet. Just catching up on some reading. How's the conference? Sunday morning. The smell of fresh coffee filled the kitchen, but the chair across from me stayed empty. Again, I sat at our dining table, looking at the 2-place settings I had arranged. Scrambled eggs, toast, fresh fruit. A full breakfast that would go cold and uneaten. Just like every other Sunday for the past 8 months. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, my husband of 6 years. Running late. Helping Simone with something at the house. Be back by dinner. Same message. Different Sunday. Always the same excuse. I took a sip of coffee and stared out the window at our neighborhood in Charlotte. Nice houses, manicured lawns, the kind of place where people raised families and built lives together. Except my husband spent every Sunday somewhere else. With someone else. His ex-wife. Let me back up a bit and explain how I got here. My name is Zara Mitchell. Well, Zara Mitchell Hayes now, though I was starting to wonder how much longer I would keep that hyphenated name. I met Marcus 6 years ago at a business conference. He was charming, successful, and seemed to have his life together. He worked in commercial real estate, made good money, and treated me like I was the only woman in the world. We got married after 2 years of dating. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends. His ex-wife Simone had been invited, which I thought was odd, but Marcus insisted they had an amicable divorce and stayed friends for the sake of their daughter, Kennedy. Kennedy was 12 when Marcus and I got married. Sweet kid. A little quiet around me, but nothing hostile. The first few years were good. Marcus and I bought a house together in a nice suburb. I contributed half the down payment from my savings. That was important to me. I worked as a financial analyst and made decent money. I wanted this to be our house, not just his house that I lived in. We split everything 50-50. Mortgage, utilities, groceries. Equal partners. The Sunday visits started about 2 years into our marriage. At first, it was once a month. Marcus said Kennedy wanted to see him on Sundays, and since Simone had her during the week, Sundays were their father-daughter time. Made sense. I encouraged it, actually. I thought it was sweet that Marcus wanted to stay involved in his daughter's life. But then once a month became twice a month, then every other week, then every single Sunday without fail. And the visits got longer. He would leave at 9 in the morning and not come back until 8 or 9 at night, sometimes later. I asked him about it. Why can't Kennedy come here? Why do you have to spend the whole day at Simone's house? He always had an answer. Kennedy is more comfortable there. Simone needs help with house repairs. Kennedy has homework and all her stuff is there. It's easier this way. Easier for who? Not for me. I spent every Sunday alone. I suggested we do things as a family. Maybe Kennedy could come here for lunch, and we could all spend time together. Marcus said Kennedy wasn't ready for that yet. She needed time to adjust. 2 years later, she apparently still needed time. My friends started noticing. Zara, why are you always free on Sundays? Where's Marcus? I made excuses at first. He's spending time with his daughter. They have their routine. But after a while, I could see the looks they gave each other. The little glances that said what they were thinking, but were too polite to say out loud. My best friend Nia finally said it one Sunday when we met for brunch. Girl, this is not normal. Every single Sunday. For the whole day. At his ex-wife's house? Come on now. You need to wake up. I defended him. You don't understand. He's just being a good father. Nia raised her eyebrow. A good father brings his daughter to his house. A good father introduces his daughter to his new wife. A good father doesn't abandon his current wife every week to play house with his ex. Her words stung because deep down I knew she was right. But I didn't want to be that wife. The suspicious, jealous, insecure wife who couldn't handle her husband having a healthy co-parenting relationship. So I pushed my doubts aside and kept setting the table for two every Sunday morning, even though I knew I would eat alone. Then 3 months ago, something changed. I was doing laundry and found a receipt in Marcus's jeans pocket. Dinner for 3 at the Capitol Grill, one of the most expensive restaurants in Charlotte. The date was a Sunday. Last Sunday, actually. The total was $450. My hand shook as I stared at that receipt. Dinner for 3. Marcus, Simone, and Kennedy, I assumed. He had told me he grabbed fast food with Kennedy that night. Said they just hit a drive-thru because Kennedy wanted a burger. He came home at 10 and went straight to bed, claiming he was exhausted. I sat on the edge of our bed holding that receipt for a long time. Part of me wanted to confront him immediately. Part of me wanted to pretend I never saw it. But the biggest part of me, the part that was tired of being lied to, wanted answers. I started paying attention differently after that. Checking credit card statements, noticing his schedule, watching his behavior on Saturday nights before his Sunday visits. He always showered Saturday night and again Sunday morning. Wore cologne on Sundays, even though he claimed he was just doing yard work at Simone's house. Who wears cologne to mow a lawn? I found more receipts. Brunch spots, coffee shops, a florist. Great. Lots of networking. I'm learning a lot. I bet you are, I thought. I bet you're texting Simone right now, too. I didn't say that. I just said, that's wonderful, honey. I'm proud of you. After we hung up, I looked around our house. Our house that was no longer really ours. That was sold to strangers who would move in next month. I felt a strange sense of calm. Like I was watching my old life from a distance, already halfway gone. Monday came. Marcus flew back Tuesday evening. I picked him up from the airport like a good wife. He talked the whole drive home about the conference, the people he met, the deals in the pipeline. I nodded and smiled and said all the right things. That night we had dinner. Normal Tuesday night. He asked what I did while he was gone. Not much, I said. Worked. Relaxed. Thought about some things. Like what? He asked absently, scrolling through his phone. Like the future, I said. He looked up. What about it? I shrugged. Just thinking about what I want. Where I see myself. He smiled. Well, I see you right here. With me. In this house. Living our life. I smiled back. We'll see. The next day, Wednesday, I got a call from Valerie. Zara, we have a problem. The buyer wants to do a final walkthrough this Saturday. They're flying in from out of state. Can we make that happen? Saturday. Marcus would be home. I thought fast. What time? Early morning. 8. Marcus usually slept until 9 on Saturdays. Okay, I said. I'll handle it. Tell them yes. I woke up early Saturday. Told Marcus I had a yoga class. He mumbled something and rolled over. I left, drove around the block, parked, and walked back. Met the Byers and Valerie at the house. Gave them a tour. They loved it. Signed off on everything. I was back home before Marcus even woke up. Everything was falling into place. The house would close in 3 weeks. My flight to London was booked for 2 days after closing. I had found a furnished flat to rent in Kensington. Expensive, but I could afford it with my new salary. My things were being shipped by an international moving company. Small stuff mostly. Clothes, books, personal items. Everything else could stay. Then came the Sunday that changed everything. The last Sunday of my marriage, though Marcus didn't know it yet. He got up, showered, put on cologne. The usual routine. I made him coffee. He kissed my cheek. See you tonight, babe. I smiled. Actually, Marcus, I think I might visit my parents today. Drive down to Columbia. Haven't seen them in a while. He looked surprised. Oh, okay. That's good. Tell them I said hi. I will, I lied. I wasn't going to my parents. I was going to finish packing and meet with Patricia one more time to finalize the divorce papers. Marcus left at 9. I watched him drive away. Then I got to work. By evening, I had everything organized. My suitcases were packed and hidden in the guest room closet. My important documents were in a safe deposit box at a different bank. My money was secured. I was ready. Marcus came home at 8. Later than usual. He looked tired. Long day. I asked. He nodded. Yeah, just, busy. I smiled. I know. That night, we went to bed like normal. He fell asleep quickly. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that was about to happen. Monday morning, I woke up before Marcus, made coffee. He came downstairs in his suit, ready for work. Morning, he said, kissing my forehead. Morning, I replied. After he left, I called Patricia. It's time. I'm ready to file. She said she would have the papers ready by end of day. Tuesday, Marcus came home to an empty house. Well, not empty. All his stuff was still there. All the furniture. But my car was gone from the driveway. And on the kitchen counter was an envelope. I wasn't there when he opened it. I was at a hotel by the airport. But I can imagine his face when he read the contents. Divorce papers. Filed that morning. And a letter from me. Marcus, by the time you read this, I will be gone. I know about Simone. I know about every Sunday for the past 3 years. I know about the dinners, the jewelry shopping, the family outings. I know you've been living a double life, and I'm done being the wife you come home to while you play happy family with your ex. I've sold the house. Yes, the house. Remember that power of attorney you signed? I used it. The house closes in 2 weeks. You'll need to sign the final papers, but the sale is done. You'll get your share of the equity after the mortgage is paid off. My lawyer will be in touch about the exact amount. I'm moving to London for work. I have a job there, a flat there, a whole new life there. You won't be able to reach me. I've changed my number. This marriage is over. You made your choice every Sunday. You chose Simone. So I'm choosing me. I'm choosing my freedom. I'm choosing a life where I don't sit alone every Sunday wondering why I'm not enough. Sign the divorce papers. Sign the house papers. Take your share of the money and build your life with Simone. I truly don't care anymore. But you will never, ever lie to me again. Zara. I heard later from Nia, who heard from a mutual friend that Marcus lost it. Completely broke down. Called me 100 times. All blocked. Showed up at my job. I had already quit and told them I was moving. Went to my parents' house. They told him they didn't know where I was and to leave their daughter alone. He tried to stop the house sale. Called Valerie, threatened legal action. She calmly explained that I had legal power of attorney and the sale was binding. He could either sign the closing documents and get his money, or refuse and face legal consequences for breach of contract. He signed. The house closed 2 weeks later. After the mortgage payoff and closing costs, there was about $175,000 left. My lawyer fought for me to get my $80,000 back first, plus half the remaining equity. I ended up with $127,000. Marcus got the rest. I didn't care that he got less. I cared that I got what was mine and got out. Simone apparently broke up with him 2 weeks after I left. According to Nia's sources, Simone had been using Marcus for financial support and help around the house. She never intended to get back together with him permanently. When his wife left and his financial situation became complicated, she decided she didn't need the drama. She started dating someone else within a month. Kennedy, Marcus's daughter, apparently told her school counselor that her dad had been lying to her too, telling her he was divorced when he wasn't, using her as an excuse to spend time with her mom when Kennedy wasn't even there half the time. The poor girl needed therapy to work through her dad's lies. I felt bad for her. She was the real victim in all this. As for me, I landed at Heathrow Airport on a cloudy Tuesday morning in November. I had 2 suitcases, a new job, and a flat waiting for me in one of the most exciting cities in the world. The first few weeks were hard. New job, new city, new everything. I didn't know anyone. I spent evenings in my flat eating takeaway and watching British TV, trying to understand the accent and the humor. But slowly I adjusted. I made friends at work. I explored the city on weekends. I took a cooking class and met people there. I joined a gym and started running along the Thames. I visited museums and theaters and parks. I ate at restaurants by myself and didn't feel lonely. I learned the tube system. I figured out where to shop for groceries. I found my favorite coffee shop and became a regular. The barista started knowing my order. Flat white, extra hot. 3 months in, I was having dinner with 2 coworkers who had become friends. We were at a pub in Shoreditch, splitting a plate of chips. One of them, a woman named Claire, asked me the question I'd been waiting for. "So, Zara, you've been here 3 months. You never talk about your life before London. What's your story?" I took a sip of my wine. My story is I was married to a man who chose someone else every single Sunday for years. So I sold our house without telling him and moved here. Claire's eyes went wide. "You did what?" "I sold the house while he was having an affair with his ex-wife and moved to London to start over." Her jaw dropped. That is the most badass thing I've ever heard. The other co-worker, a guy named Tom, raised his glass. "To Zara, a bloody legend." We clinked glasses, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Happy. Genuinely, truly happy. I never heard from Marcus again after the divorce was finalized. He signed everything, didn't contest anything, probably because he knew he had no leg to stand on. My lawyer told me he tried to ask for alimony. She laughed in his lawyer's face. "Your client committed adultery. He's lucky he's getting anything." He dropped it. 6 months into my London life, I was thriving. I got a promotion at work. I started dating someone I met through friends. Nothing serious, just fun. I traveled on weekends to Paris, Amsterdam, Barcelona. I was living a life I never imagined. One Sunday morning, I woke up in my flat in Kensington. Sunlight streamed through the windows. I made myself coffee, sat on my little balcony, and looked out over the London rooftops. It was Sunday, and for the first time in years, I wasn't sitting alone wondering where my husband was. I wasn't making breakfast for 2 and eating it by myself. I wasn't waiting for someone who chose someone else. I was free, and it felt incredible. I thought about Marcus sometimes, wondered if he regretted it, wondered if he understood that he had lost someone who loved him, who was faithful, who tried to make it work for years while he lied. But mostly, I didn't think about him at all, because I had built a life that didn't include him. A life where Sundays were mine to do whatever I wanted. Sleep in, go to brunch with friends, explore a new neighborhood, read a book in a park. Anything except wait for a man who didn't value me. My parents came to visit me in London. They stayed for a week, and I showed them around the city. My mom pulled me aside one evening while we were walking along the South Bank. "I'm proud of you," she said, "for leaving, for choosing yourself, for starting over." "I know it was scary," I said. She shook her head. "Scary isn't the word. It was brave. You were brave. And look at you now. You're glowing. You're happy. You did the right thing. A year after I left, Nia texted me. Girl, you're not going to believe this. I'm in London for work. Can we meet? I met her at a restaurant in Covent Garden. We hugged and screamed and caught up for 3 hours over wine and pasta. She told me all the Charlotte gossip. Who got married, who got divorced, who had babies. Then she said, You want to know about Marcus? I shrugged. Sure. Why not? He's struggling, she said. Lost his job. Apparently his performance went downhill after you left. He was depressed, distracted. They let him go. He's working at a smaller firm now. Lives in a studio apartment. Doesn't see Kennedy much. Simone won't let him around because he kept trying to get back with her and it was making Kennedy uncomfortable. I felt a tiny bit of sympathy. Then I remembered every Sunday I sat alone. Every lie he told. Every time he chose someone else over me. The sympathy disappeared. That's sad, I said. But not my problem anymore. Nia grinned. That's my girl. Cold as ice. I laughed. Not cold. Just, I gave him 6 years. He chose to waste them. That's on him, not me. We changed the subject and talked about my life. My job, my friends, the guy I was seeing. She said I seemed different. Lighter. Like a weight had been lifted. Because it has, I told her. For years, I was trying to hold together a marriage by myself. Now I'm just holding together my own life. Much easier. Before Nia left London, we took a photo in front of Big Ben. She posted it on social media with the caption, Real Queens Relocate. I didn't post anything. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone back home. But I saved that photo. Looked at it sometimes when I needed a reminder of how far I'd come. The girl in that photo was confident, happy, free. That was me now. That was who I had fought to become. 2 years after leaving Charlotte, I was senior financial analyst at my firm's London office. I had a flat I loved, friends I adored, a life I had built from scratch. I had traveled to 15 countries. I spoke with a slight British accent now without meaning to. I drank tea more than coffee. I was happy. Not the fake happy I tried to be in my marriage. Real, deep, genuine happiness. One evening, I was having dinner with my boyfriend, a kind man named Oliver who worked in tech. We'd been together for 8 months. He knew my whole story. He thought I was incredibly strong for leaving and starting over. Over dessert, he said something that stuck with me. You know what I admire about you? You didn't just leave a bad situation. You completely rebuilt your entire life. Most people talk about starting over. You actually did it. I smiled. I didn't have a choice. Well, I did. I could have stayed and been miserable. Or I could leave and build something better. I chose better. He reached across the table and took my hand. I'm glad you chose better. Otherwise, I never would have met you. Looking back, I don't regret a single decision I made. Not selling the house. Not moving to London. Not cutting ties completely. Some people thought I was too harsh. Too cold. That I should have confronted Marcus first, given him a chance to explain. But here's the thing. I gave him 3 years of chances. Every Sunday was a chance to choose me, to invite me along, to include me in his life with his daughter, to be honest about what was really happening with Simone. He never took those chances. So I took my chance to leave, my chance to start over, my chance to build a life where I wasn't an afterthought. I saw a quote once that said, You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. I had allowed Marcus to disrespect me every Sunday for years. When I finally stopped allowing it, when I finally left, I taught myself that I deserved better. And I was right. I did deserve better. Better than waiting. Better than wondering. Better than being second choice in my own marriage. Now, when Sunday morning comes, I do whatever I want. Sometimes I meet friends for brunch. Sometimes I go to a farmer's market. Sometimes I stay in bed until noon reading a book. Sometimes I take a train out of the city and explore the countryside. But I never, ever spend it waiting for someone who doesn't value my time. 3 years after I left, I got an email. It was from Marcus. I don't know how he got my new email address. Maybe through mutual friends. Maybe he hired someone to find me. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity got the better of me. Zara, I know I have no right to contact you, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. I was a fool. I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. I let you sit alone every Sunday while I chased something that was never going to work out. I lied to you, I disrespected you, and I took you for granted. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I see that now. I'm not asking for another chance. I know that ship has sailed. I just wanted you to know that I regret everything. I hope you're happy. I hope you found someone who treats you the way I should have. Take care. Marcus. I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no sadness. Just nothing. Because he was right. That ship had sailed. It had sailed across an ocean and arrived at a completely different life. I deleted the email and went on with my day. Some friends asked if I would ever move back to the States. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not to Charlotte. That chapter is closed. If I move back, it'll be somewhere new. New York, maybe. Or California. Somewhere with no memories. But honestly, I love London. I love my life here. I love who I've become here. The person I was in Charlotte, the person who set the table for two and ate alone, that person doesn't exist anymore. I became someone who knows their worth. Someone who doesn't wait around for people who don't appreciate them. Someone who isn't afraid to start over, no matter how scary it seems. I'm not saying my way was the only way. Some people can work through infidelity. Some people can rebuild trust. Some people can forgive and move forward. I'm just saying, I wasn't one of those people. And that's okay. I chose me. I chose my peace. I chose a life where I didn't spend every Sunday wondering why I wasn't enough. Because I was always enough. Marcus just wasn't capable of seeing it. His loss became my gain. He lost a faithful wife who loved him. I gained a whole new life, a new city, new opportunities, new happiness. If I could go back and talk to the girl who sat alone at the breakfast table every Sunday, I would tell her this. You are not crazy for feeling hurt. You are not selfish for wanting more. You are not wrong for expecting honesty and respect. And when you finally decide to leave, when you sell that house and book that flight and start over in a place where no one knows your name, you're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to thrive. And she did. I did. I am. Today is Sunday. I'm sitting in a coffee shop in Notting Hill, writing this story. Outside, London is bustling with people living their lives. Inside, I'm drinking my flat white and thinking about how much can change in a few years. The barista just brought me a pastry I didn't order. On the house, he said with a smile. You're here every Sunday. You deserve something sweet. I laughed and thanked him. Thought about the irony. Here I am, every Sunday, in my favorite coffee shop. But I'm not alone. I'm not waiting. I'm not wondering why I'm not enough. I'm just living. Peacefully, happily, freely. And honestly, that's the sweetest revenge of all. Not making Marcus regret what he lost, though I'm sure he does. But living so well without him that I rarely think about him anymore. I rebuilt my life from scratch in a foreign country. I made a home in a place where I knew no one. I created happiness on my own terms. That's not revenge. That's victory. That's me winning. Not against Marcus, but for myself. So if you're reading this and you're in a situation where you feel like you're not enough, where you're waiting for someone to choose you, where you're accepting less than you deserve, let me tell you something. You are enough. You always were. And there's a whole life waiting for you on the other side of that fear. A life where you don't wait, where you don't wonder, where you're not second choice. All you have to do is be brave enough to choose yourself. I did, and it was the best decision I ever made. Every Sunday morning reminds me of that. And I smile, sip my coffee, and thank God I had the courage to leave. Because now Sundays are mine. And I'm never giving that up again. Did you like this story? Let me know in the comments which city you're listening from. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel for more life stories. And remember, you always have the power to choose yourself. Thanks for listening. See you in the next story. With love and respect.